Story time, guys, about the time I ran across Jodi Arias in prison and my first time seeing her. So in November of 2020, I caught a case out here in Arizona and it sent me to prison. While I was in county, I met a good friend that I became really good friends with, and we decided we were going to stay in contact even after we got out of prison and did our time. She was basically in there for the same thing I kind of was in there. And she ended up going to prison 2 weeks before I went to prison. So by keeping in contact, I gave her my boyfriend's address and I told her to write me through him. So she had wrote me when she had touched down to Mainline and told me she ended up on Lumley, which is a medium maximum yard, and she was on D yard D3. So when I got there, I ended up going to a minimum yard with high points. And when I got to Carlos, which is a minimum yard, I ended up getting a ticket the first week that I was there. And it got me taken off that yard and I got sent to Lumley D3. When I got to Lumley D3, it took me a minute before I got comfortable and I was able to scope stuff out. You know, I was just setting up my cell and getting to know my bunkie. And finally I asked my bunkie, like, hey, I have a friend here. And, she says that Jodi Arias is her neighbor. And I asked her, where does Jodi Arias live? And she was like, I believe she's in D3. So I went to go look for my friend. Actually, my bunkie went to go look for my friend. I didn't look for my friend. My bunkie went to go look for my friend, and she came back and she told me she's not here no more. She had to go to court. So they had packed her stuff up and she was in court doing another case. So at that time, now I'm curious on who Jodi Arias was because I heard all this stuff about her from my friend. So as I'm getting to my bunkie, we're in our cell or whatever, and my cell is on the bottom tier, and right outside of my cell is the phone, so you could see the phones out there. Well, one day I was out there, I believe we were on a lockdown, and I was out looking out my little window and just scoping out the scene. And my bunkie was like, that girl right there, that's Jodi Arias. She was wearing some big glasses, like a Fisher hat, an orange one. She had her mask on. She had a long sleeve shirt, long pants on. Like you couldn't even see anything on her. I didn't even recognize her. You would never recognize her. So I'm like, wow, that's Jodi Arias. That's crazy, you know? So I don't see her around. Like she doesn't come out much from her cell or anything like that. And she would talk to selective people. But the first time I seen her face was I had met one of my neighbors, and she had asked me because I didn't have a TV yet. And she was like, do you want to go to the library with me to get some books? I was like, sure, let's go, you know? So when I was incarcerated, it was during COVID, so we had to get escorted everywhere. The cops had to escort us to and from. So we're outside, we get escorted to the library, and we're getting our books checked in, and there's a skinny girl, dark hair, maybe about up to here,